So this is a follow-up video to the one I just made about the new Indiana Jones game. A lot of big news coming out of Lucasfilm early in the year so far. And this came out on my birthday, no less. What a great birthday gift. Hopefully this is a harbinger to come for the rest of this year in terms of gaming news. So let's read this huge news that came out today from Star Wars. It says, Lucasfilm Games hits lightspeed toward the future. Douglas Riley, VP of Lucasfilm Games, talks to StarWars.com about the just-announced story-driven open-world Star Wars game from Ubisoft and much more. So that's obviously the big takeaway from this, is that Ubisoft is making a new Star Wars game, but I'll get to that after I read this. It reads, the Star Wars gaming galaxy is about to experience its own big bang. Quote, we've got a lot of stuff we're ready to start sharing with fans, Lucasfilm Games VP Douglas Riley tells StarWars.com, because we've been working quietly behind the scenes for a while now, waiting for this moment. And by this moment, Riley is referring to a new direction and era for Star Wars and Lucasfilm Gaming overall. As Lucasfilm Games is now opening the door to developers that want to come play in the galaxy far, far away, quote, we're looking to work with best-in-class teams that can make great games across all our IP. We've got a team of professionals here at Lucasfilm Games who can work with the developers, shape the stories, shape the creative, shape the games to make them really resonate with fans and deliver across a breadth of platforms, genres, and experiences so that all of our fans can enjoy the IPs that they know and love, he says. Case in point, the huge news that Lucasfilm Games and Ubisoft are collaborating on a new story-driven open-world Star Wars game. It's a genre long requested by fans and will come to life via massive entertainment. Ubisoft's critically acclaimed studio based in Malmo, Sweden. Quote, we're really excited about an opportunity to work with the team at Massive, led by David Polfeld and the creative director Julian Garrity. We've spent almost a year now working to get to know them and what they want to bring to the table, Riley says. Quote, I'm a huge fan of them personally. I think we're really excited about where their project is going because they have a unique vision for the story and game that they want to deliver. A quick side note, what's interesting is Massive Entertainment, right, has been working on a new Avatar game for years now. I think they announced it in, 2017, and it's still not out. So I have the feeling that whatever this is, it's not going to be out for a while. I'm a little trepidatious about being made by Ubisoft, just because I don't think they're the best. They're certainly better than EA, but I still don't think they're great. Especially recently, their quality has kind of taken a dip. But we'll see how it turns out. And of course, they also are Massive Entertainment's known for The Division and The Division 2 as well. But those aren't really, they are single player games, but they're more Destiny-like, where you can play it alone, but it's better played with a group. It continues, of course, Ubisoft and Massive Entertainment are renowned for their expertise in developing immersive worlds and in pushing the boundaries of technology with their proprietary engine Snowdrop. Yeah, that's the engine that they use for Division and the new Avatar game that James Cameron is overseeing. We know that fans of Star Wars value the feeling of immersion, of being transported into the Star Wars galaxy and moving through richly detailed environments. It's fun to imagine what the team at Massive can do within Star Wars by bringing their innovative spirit and their commitment to quality, Riley says. And for fans of modern Star Wars games, fear not, some old friends are sticking around. Okay, by that they're inferring, they say old friends and they mean EA, but I don't think EA is a friend to anyone. Continuing the relationship that resulted in the again, I wouldn't call it reinvigorated since it's not as good as the originals, Battlefront series, the critically acclaimed Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, which I really enjoyed, and multiplayer hit Star Wars Squadrons. It's funny that they call it multiplayer hit, because I played the campaign and I didn't like it very much. The writing is pretty bad and the story is not great, but the gameplay is really fun. Electronic Arts will too play a big role in the future of Star Wars gaming. Wah, wah. We're really proud of the games we have created with EA, Riley says. I don't know if you should be. We will continue working with them, and our relationship has never been stronger. While we may not have a lot of details to share at this moment, we've got a number of projects underway with the talented teams at EA. So that's interesting because, well, this is actually good news because back in, 2013, when they first teased the rebooted Battlefront, I remember being so hyped for that and being sorely disappointed by it. But in 2013, they announced that they had a 10-year-long contract with EA to where only EA studios could make games, and it took them forever to actually make a good one. It said 10 years, so it was supposed to go until 2023. So technically, we still have basically 3 years left on the contract. And so maybe they rewrote the contract. I don't know how this went down, because now they've opened the door to other developers, so they must have struck a new deal. Personally, I hope that deal expires with EA by the end and they don't renew, but we'll see about that. Maybe they're trying to get away from the bad press of Battlefront 2 because that game sparked off the whole loot box controversy. That game was the beginning of the end for loot boxes. And I think they want to leave that in the past, and they want to get away from the stain that EA has on everything, because everyone was shocked at how much they enjoyed Fallen Order, because it was like, wow, it's a single-player only EA-made Star Wars game. That was like an anomaly. It was a shock that it even happened. It was a little janky, yeah, like it seems like they had to rush at the last minute, but I loved that game. But all the credit goes to Respawn. EA just published it, and you know for a fact they would have shoved microtransactions in there if they could have. And then, but think about how long that took to get that. In the time that EA started that contract, we had nothing. Well, we had Battlefront 1 in 2015, which was like a half-baked shell of a game. And then we had some mobile games like Galaxy of Heroes, which still goes on now, but they're crap. They're just money dumps, microtransaction machines. And then like The Sims got DLC recently. Minecraft got Star Wars like skin pack. It's pretty cool, and like the world you can run around in. And then we got Battlefront 2 in 2017, which that game needs no introduction. And then finally we got an actual decent single player game with Fallen Order. That was in 2019. That was 6 years after EA got the license. So that's 6 out of 10 years. That's over half their time with the license. It took them that long to finally get a win. So maybe Disney is finally woken up to the fact that they kind of suck, and they're like, okay, fine, we're gonna let other people make them. Again, I don't think Ubisoft is the best answer to that. Maybe they should go to people like Insomniac, people that treat IPs with respect, like they did with Spider-Man, and they don't make their games full of microtransactions. And then of course Star Wars Squadrons, which came out in 2020. So not very many games in that time, and that one was a budget title, like $40. And then also, I'm going to finish reading this, and then I'm going to go over the list of just how many Star Wars games we could have had by now, but many were killed off by Disney during the acquisition. So let's continue reading this. As with EA over the last few years, Lucasfilm Games will continue to guide titles from the franchise perspective, from ensuring Star Wars authenticity to story connectivity within the larger saga. I hope. We try and help them leverage their passion, expertise, and idea by bringing, and that's a typo. Come on, StarWars.com. And ideas by bringing our expertise around the IP, our ability to connect with other parts of Lucasfilm and the Walt Disney Company, to amplify that, to make it even bigger than they might imagine, Riley says. We want to uncover the stories they've always imagined telling and make them resonate with our fans and across the wider Star Wars galaxy. Yeah, this is just mostly PR speak. All this news comes on the heels of an official return of the classic Lucasfilm Games branding. Yeah, it hasn't been called that since, like the 80s, the 90s? It was called that a long time ago, and then it became LucasArts for a long time. And then that got defunct after the Disney buyout. Then they didn't really have an official name. They just slapped the Lucasfilm Limited logo on any new games. And EA Star Wars was like the main branding, and like I said, I think they want to distance themselves from that now. So it's cool that they brought this branding back, and as far as I know, I think I'd have to look it up. I'm not positive, but yeah, I think like the 80s, like early arcade games and maybe like the Star Wars games on the NES or something had the name Lucasfilm Games. So it's cool that they're bringing that branding back. And there's meaning in that change. This is really the culmination of years of preparing to come out and say, we're here, we've got a team of people, we're going to make a lot of great games, and here's some new things you weren't expecting from us to do that we're now starting to do. Yeah, it would have been nice if you started that years ago. Like, we're now 8 years into the deal, and it took them this long to realize what people wanted. Same thing goes with the movies. Like, Mandalorian is the first thing since Disney bought Lucasfilm that everyone, for the most part, a lot of the fans agree on. It just sucks that it took this long. Going on 9 years now that Disney's owned it, 2012. So, it says, and it's going to continue throughout the next year or so. Where we're going to continue to announce projects that are more representative of the legacy of the old Lucasfilm games that we're now trying to live up to. So saying that they're more representative of the legacy, hopefully that means back to more single-player games, because during the LucasArts era, there are so many great single-player games, and that just hasn't been a thing in so long. Part of that legacy includes a certain adventuring archaeologist, yeah, this is what I just covered the other day, who is also making a return to gaming. The decision, in some ways, was really easy. Riley says, I have wanted to do an Indiana Jones game for a long time, and we've never had the right fit of partner and idea to make that happen. We are extraordinarily fortunate to be working with Todd Howard, the executive producer for the upcoming game, which will be developed by Machine Games and the team at Bethesda. He has a unique vision and unique passion for Indiana Jones and pitched us a story and concept that is so amazing. I can't wait to start sharing it with folks. I love Star Wars and we love making Star Wars games, but it's been a long time since we've made indie. We're really excited about this one. Yeah, that's kind of exciting to me too. I just hope they don't screw it up. And then it closes with, for Star Wars and Lucasfilm fans, there's a lot to be excited about in the realm of gaming, and Riley promises there's more to come. Quote, this is just the beginning of what I think is going to be a very exciting year for Lucasfilm Games. Unquote. Yeah, E3 is going to be crazy if we have it this year, and here's hoping. But if they come out and just like boom, 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 announce like tons of announcements, like that's going to be really exciting. It sucks that probably none of them are even close to being done, but the fact that they're finally being like, hey, we're making stuff is pretty cool. Personally, like my wish list of what I'd like to see for new games from them. Well, we're already getting a new Lego Star Wars, which I hope because of these announcements we finally get a release date soon. I've been waiting on that. And then probably a new Lego indie game for when the new movie comes out. But in terms of Star Wars games, I want to see, I mean, the first one that comes to mind is obviously KOTOR 3. Everybody wants KOTOR 3. Maybe remake 1 and 2 with modern graphics. The thing is that those games are kind of, that and Old Republic are kind of stuck in this weird limbo where nobody knows if they're canon or not. It's like Schrodinger's canon. It's like, are they canon? They're simultaneously canon and not canon until they say they are. Maybe they'll change some stuff. I don't know. But it's interesting in that video they put out on their YouTube channel, they do show it. So then again, they show stuff like the Lego Star Wars, which obviously isn't canon, with all their wackiness in those games. So I think they should remaster those games or remake them and then make a third one. Maybe not with BioWare. Sadly, BioWare has lost its way. Maybe get Obsidian. That would be amazing. Obsidian's now owned by Microsoft. So, and Bethesda's working on the indie game. So Obsidian is made. Obsidian made KOTOR 2, I believe. BioWare only made the first one. So yeah, get Obsidian to make the third one. That'd be absolutely incredible. And that being an exclusive to PC and Xbox, that'd be crazy. Yeah. Besides that, that's obviously the big one. The only other thing is a Battlefront 3, but hopefully they actually nail it this time. Like, go back to those designs that Free Radical had from the original Battlefront 3. I've seen that leaked footage so many times, and it's just heartbreaking that didn't come to fruition. Although, while I mention that, let me take a look real quick at the list of canceled games that fell through the cracks during the Disney acquisition. So, by this count on Wikipedia, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games here that were canceled due to the Disney buyout. Yeah, there was a lot of victims of that, like Clone Wars being canceled. Obviously, we got that finished. Not completely finished, but I think finished in a satisfying way. Maybe they'll wrap up some of those missing plot lines in the Bad Batch, but overall, I'm pleased with how that ended. But here's just some of the games that were victims to that acquisition. The original Battlefront 3 from 2008 is when it was supposed to come out for Windows and 360, PS3. That was the one by Free Radical. There's tons of gameplay out there of it, and it looked really cool. And it had the seamless transition from ground to space battle, which none of the new ones have had, and I want them to get closer to that with the new games. The two new EA ones were nowhere near as good. And then Star Wars First Assault from 2012. I remember the trailers for that. It was like an FPS. Looked kind of Halo-ish. And I remember it was like on the cusp of being released. It was like, I remember being like, oh, it's coming out soon, and then Disney buys it, and then it's just gone. And then this one hurts the most. Star Wars 1313 from 2013. Of course, that also had a lot of trailers, and it hurts my heart anytime I think about it. It was basically Uncharted set in Star Wars, and then years later it was revealed, oh, guess what? It was a Boba Fett game, and that stung me even more. Like, I was just, oh, no. Why couldn't that have happened? And then some concept art came out of him wearing his dad's armor. Like, it was before he painted it. It still looked like Django, but personalized, and it was set on level 1313. And what's interesting is the most recent season of Clone Wars had a arc set on level 1313, and I've heard that those episodes were produced back in 2012 and 2013, right before the acquisition. So they were kind of doing some cross-promotion of their products. Like, Clone Wars was going to be referencing 1313, then the game was going to come out, so they were clearly trying to have some kind of synergy there. So, but those episodes are eventually made. I highly doubt it, but it would be great if one day that game is somehow, the code is probably still out there. If somehow that game was finished, I don't think it can happen, but it would be great. And then Star Wars Outpost 2013, I have no idea what that is. Star Wars Attack Squadrons 2014, I remember the trailers for that too. Yeah, I remember that very vividly. But that was after the acquisition, so that kind of confusing why that was canceled. And then Star Wars Battle of the Sith Lords 2015. I think that was the Darth Maul game. There was a Darth Maul game that was going to happen that was canceled. That's another heartbreaking one, and that probably would have tied in with all the Maul stuff we got in later on in the Clone Wars that they eventually like tied up in Rebels and in Solo. And then the big one was KOTOR 3, which we only discovered recently that was even a thing, and it just was canceled. I didn't even know that it had started development. And the next one's pretty big, although I'm not too broken up about it. Star Wars The Force Unleashed 3. Originally it was supposed to be that's more recent. That's crazy. It says Windows, Wii U, Xbox One, and PS4. So this past generation that just ended. Like, I enjoy playing those two games, even though I don't think the story is very good. The second one, the first one has a good story, but the second one is just bad. Gameplay is pretty cool, but neither of them are canon anymore, so, like I said, I'm not too broken up about that one. Sucks for Sam Witwer, because I'm sure he would have been happy to do that again. And then the last one, another painful one, is Project Ragtag. That's the one that was supposed to come out on PC, Xbox One, and PS4 from EA and Amy Hennig, who had been working on that for years, and then EA, being the garbage company that they are, pulled the plug on it for seemingly no reason. I don't know why. I bet they are kicking themselves now after they realized that people liked Squadrons and Fallen Order. They sold very well because they're single player games, and now they're probably like, oh, what have we done? They could have made bank on that. Why do you think people didn't like Battlefront 2? We have been clamoring for over a decade. Please give us new single player AAA Star Wars games, and EA just doesn't get the message. Instead, they just follow the crowd of putting out some garbage that they just pump full of microtransactions. It's like, nobody wants that. Stop jumping on this bandwagon that is now long gone, and go back to what you're good at, which I think that's what this is. Their new Lucasfilm initiative is, okay, let's go back to what made us popular in the first place and recapture that legacy. So yeah, that's about it for that post, and I just recapped all the games that were canceled. So it'd be nice if a couple of those were resurrected. I'm not sure if it'll happen. But yeah, and so on the movie front, well, mostly on the Disney Plus front, I should say, because there's only like 2 upcoming movies, and the gaming front, I think things are looking up for Star Wars finally. I don't want to jinx it, but I think the stars are aligning, and we're finally going to get some good stuff. What do you guys think of this exciting news about Lucasfilm Games returning? I say returning because it hasn't been a thing for so long, and it's hopefully the EA Games branding is left in the dustbin of history where it belongs. Which games are you which potential games are you excited for that could happen? Which game hurts the most that was canceled by Disney? For me, I think, like I said, I think it's either the original Battlefront 3 or KOTOR 3 or 1313. Yeah, there's just too many to choose from. Are you as optimistic about the future of Star Wars games? And what do you think of Ubisoft using Massive Entertainment and the Snowdrop engine to make a new game? I don't like some of Ubisoft's games recently. They've been a little janky and kind of unfinished, or they're just bloated with so much busy work. Like Assassin's Creed recently has just been just a billion. I mean, actually, any Ubisoft game lately has just been, here's a million icons on the map. Just do all this busy work. But it says a story-driven campaign, so maybe Ubisoft is turning a page too, and they're going to start going back to what people like. I don't know, I got high hopes for this, so let me know what you think of all this in the comments. And I'm not sure what my next video is, but we'll see. This kind of just came out of the blue, and I had to talk about it, so we'll see. And then also, let me know if you guys want to see me stream something. Like, I've considered streaming Star Wars games, and with this Indiana Jones news, I considered maybe tracking down a copy of Indiana Jones and the Emperor's Tomb or the Staff of Kings, and I've actually not played either one, but I've always wanted to, and for PS2. So I'd have to figure out how to rig that to stream. But let me know if you want to see me do that. And I'll probably make a video about whenever Lego Star Wars comes out, because I'm a sucker for Lego games. So I'm really looking forward to that. Alright, let me know what you think in the comments, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you for watching.